ADC presidential candidate Muhammad Ayatuddin has boycotted ADC results collation, alleging irregularities and obvious rigging of the exercise. And the court today has pronounced that former President Goodluck Jonathan is cleared to run for president. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I am Sean Wakimale, live for you here in Abuja. So much that we need to bring to you tonight. A lot is happening today. It's a very busy political day, and as you can see right there on the scroll here on Channel Television, we're monitoring for you what is happening in different of the political parties. Tonight we'll be bringing you up to speed. The PDP, AAC, ADC, and all of the political parties are making the decision about their flag bearer. Let's get it started. Let me tell you about the PDP and a lot of the questions, especially the ones that went to court. Today, Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court in Abuja dismissed a suit filed by a lawyer, Mr. John Mary JDOB, seeking to stop former President Goodluck Jonathan from contesting the 2027 presidential election. But the court, in delivering that judgment, says that it is awarded a 20 million naira fine against JDOB, and in favor of the former president, equally awarded a 1 million fine against the plaintiff and in favor of the Attorney General of the Federation. Justice Lifu says that the matter lacked the legal right to have, or the lawyer lacked the legal right to have instituted the suit in the first place, having not suffered any loss from his perceived Jonathan's intention to vie for the next year poll. The judge says that the Federal Court, High Court in Yenagoa and an appeal court had already held that Jonathan was eligible to run, and says that he was bound by the decision of the appellate court.
For the expeditious manner in which this case was handled, and if you listened to the judgment that was delivered, it was very succinct. And what is very important, and which everybody, particularly court users, must take heed of, is the need to reduce rushing to court for frivolous cases.
The way is clear, and PDP is ready for Jonathan, and by this judgment, Jonathan is ready to fly the flag of PDP. We shall all rally around him and ensure that, he becomes the next president in 2027. That's the work we have to do as a party.
All right, you heard him there, but let's also tell you about what is happening in the AAC, where Mr. Omoyele Chora has emerged as the presidential candidate of the African Alliance Congress, AAC. He today stepped down also as the party's national chairman. Mr. Shore emerged as the party's sole candidate, and in the consensus mode, he is emerged as the party's candidate. Mr. Shore is promised that he will wipe away corruption and fix the nation if given the chance. And the leadership of the People's Democratic Party aligned to Mr. Nyesom Wike has today unveiled Senator Honor as the party flag bearer for his presidential candidate. Just a moment ago, that decision was made by the leaders of the party, and the chairman of the PDP Presidential Primary Collaboration Committee, former governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, announced and presented Senator Sandy Honor as the consensus presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. In his opening remarks, the chairman says that they have been working with members across the 36 states and the SCT and have arrived at a consensus promise to avail the candidate the opportunity to be able to defend the party at the polls. He said at that meeting, which is ongoing, INEC National Commissioner Abdullahi Zuru is leading other officials of INEC to monitor the exercise which held at the Wadata Plaza. INEC National Commission's Abdullahi Zuru and Professor Rhoda Habal Gumuz, those who are leading officials of the electoral umpire to monitor the exercise. Let's tell you about the ADC primary collation of results, which is on the way at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel in Abuja, where three candidates were threw their hat in the ring. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Mr. Muhammad Ayatollah, and Mr. Rotimi Ameche, former governor of Rivers State. But the story is emerging is the fact that we saw Mr. Ayatollah, one of the presidential aspirants, pulling out a boycotting the presidential primary election result collation, citing allegations of widespread vote rigging. In the statement on his Twitter and X handle earlier today, he says, quote, "I will not be attending the announcement of the ADC presidential election result today. I'm concerned by reports from across the country of widespread vote rigging, some of which I myself observed, and would therefore be taking advice on my next steps." End of quote. All right, then, there's so much more to talk to you about. My guest tonight is sometimes very controversial. Sometimes when you see him, you wonder whether or not he spent as much as the years he spent in the National Assembly. But tonight, there's a lot to talk about. Kano politics, why President Bola Tinubu deserved to be re-elected, the economy of this country, and so much more about the politics of 2027. But before we get into all of that, let me serve you with your political roundup stories.
Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja has reserved judgment to a date to be communicated to the parties in the ongoing trial of 5 men being prosecuted by the Department of State Services, DSS, for their alleged involvement in the June 5, 2022 attack on the St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. Justice Nwite announced this after taking final arguments from lawyers to the prosecution and the defense. Justice Nwite told the lawyers to the parties that they would receive notice from the court once the judgment is ready. In his final submission, counsel to the prosecution, Ayodeji Adedipe SAN, urged the courts to convict the defendants and impose the maximum sentence of death in view of the enormity of the crime they allegedly committed. The People's Democratic Party in Bauchi State has affirmed Senator Shehu Buba as its governorship candidate for the 2027 general elections. Senator Buba emerged as the party's candidate days after withdrawing from the governorship primary of the All Progressives Congress and subsequently resigning his membership of the party. Addressing party members, Senator Buba pledges to strengthen and expand the party across every part of Bauchi State, calling on his supporters in other political parties to join his movement. A governorship aspirant of the People's Democratic Party in Gombe State, Mr. Abdulkadir Hamas Saleh, is reacting to what he described as a sudden and unlawful announcement of Professor Ali Pantami as sole governorship candidate of the party in 2027. Mr. Hamas Saleh recounted that after fulfilling all lawful requirements, aspirants were told, the party's governorship primary was moved from Sunday 24th of May 2026 to Tuesday 26th of May 2026, but to their shock, former Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Mr. Ali Pantami, was then unveiled as the party's only governorship flag bearer in 2027, while pointing out that Pantami had participated and lost in the recently conducted primaries of the All Progressives Congress. Mr. Hamas Saleh vows to employ all legal means available to challenge the hostile political takeover by Mr. Pantami, who arrived into the party from the back door, according to him. The Niger State chapter of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has declared Dr. Mohammed Bautagi as its governorship candidate for the 2027 general elections. The state returning officer and secretary of the ADC Primary Election Committee, Ibrahim Mohammed, announced the results during the official declaration of candidates for the governorship, senatorial, House of Representatives, and House of Assembly elections in Minna, the state capital. According to him, Dr. Mohammed Bautagi polled a total of 67,924 votes to defeat his opponent, Idris Usman, who secured 27,769 votes across the 25 local government areas of the state. In Lagos State, Mr. Adedeji Doherty has emerged as a consensus governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Mr. Doherty emerged during the party's governorship primary election in Ikeja, Lagos State. The chairman of the PDP Governorship Primary Electoral Committee, Mr. Olalekan Rotimi, says Doherty emerged as a consensus candidate after consultation among party leaders and was adopted by delegates and stakeholders of the party from the 20 local government areas of the state. In his acceptance speech, Mr. Doherty promised to build a prosperous and inclusive state for all residents if voted into office. The chairman, House of Representatives Committee on FCT, Honorable Aliyu Betara, has called on his supporters to vote en masse and ensure the re-election of President Bola Tinubu. Honorable Betara, representing Bayo, Kwaya Kusa, and Shani Federal Constituency of Borno State, charged his supporters to not only vote for the APC, but provide enabling ground for swift return of all APC candidates in the 2027 general elections.
A lot is coming to light as regarding those who will be flying the flags of the different political parties. AAC, we know, sure. ADC, as far as the David Mack group is concerned, they are at the collation center yesterday and they said that is not going to be attending. But of course, it would be good to understand what exactly is going on, whether or not what the fate of that party is in the coming days, where we saw Mr. Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, Mohamed Ayatudin. Expectations are high. And Mr. Bolaji Abdullah, who is the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, I know that you are there on the ground. It's difficult for you to come into the studio, but it will be good to know what exactly is the latest as far as your collation is concerned. Mr. Ayatudin has pulled out. What do we know? He says the process is probably rigged. Mr. Bolaji Abdullah, can you give us an idea of what is going on?
Well, I'm curious here. Seeing results. We don't know the outcome of the president, the fictional side. So I will see results from the state. Only side results have been obtained from other parts of the country. So everything going well. And with everything, we are going to be successful.
So do we have an idea? We understand that you might commence the collation at about 7 p.m. But do we have an idea of how many results have come in from the different states of the Federation? Do we have an idea?
Like I said, so we have results. Meaning 11 states, and 11 state results have been received. We are still awaiting some other results. We are starting anytime from now. We're going to start, like you said. It will probably run into over several hours. But the major party leaders and major dignitaries are arriving, so we are going to start any moment from now.
Does it bother you and the party leadership? Because Mr. Ayatollah says he's not going to come because he thinks that the process is rigged and there are a lot of irregularities.
Well, I mean, we don't have any evidence. Hello, sorry, we don't have any evidence now to be able to support his position or to deny his position, because, like I said, we've not collated the results. We've not noticed any pattern in the results, and we've not seen enough to be able to establish a pattern or to be able to say this represents evidence in the direction that he is speaking. But we will. I mean, there are processes for addressing such complaints. If there are complaints of irregularities, there are processes for dealing with it within the political party and within the electoral process. But so far, like I said, we don't have enough. We don't know enough to be able to say yes or no to the allegations that he has made.
But what is the we are confused. A lot of Nigerians are confused, Mr. Abdullahi. Just on Sunday, we saw Mr. Dumebika Chukwu, who was affirmed by a group of ADC members saying that he's a presidential candidate, effectively removing the David Mark leadership. What exactly is going on? Who do we believe?
Well, I mean, it doesn't bother us, and this doesn't mean anything to us. I mean, INEC know who is organizing a genuine convention of the African Democratic Congress, and under the law, we know who is organizing the genuine convention of the African Democratic Congress. So anybody can lay claim to do anything. A gang of criminals kill people, soldiers kill people. We know that soldiers are the ones defending the nation. So I'm saying that the fact that they are groups does not mean that they are legitimate or that whatever they do has legitimacy. So for us, we are not worried about that. It's just side attraction, and ADC is used to this kind of situation, and we're going to deal with it as we move along.
Is INEC present at your event there at the collation? Is INEC present?
INEC, we are waiting for them. They've attended all our Congress, all the processes across the country in all the 36 states and the FCT. All the primaries were attended by INEC officials, and it was fully documented by INEC officials. So they are going to be here tonight. And like I said, the event has now started. But there is no question about that. I mean, we've been relating effectively with INEC all the way since we started our primaries, not just the presidential primaries, but also the House of Assembly primaries, and the governorship and the House of Representatives as well, and the Senate as well. So for every single step we have taken, INEC has been part of it. So we are not worried about that.
Thank you, Mr. Bolaji Abdullah. Let me allow you. I know you are deep in the organization of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for creating that time to talk to us on the sideline of the collation of results at the ADC Presidential Election Result Collation Center. That's Bolaji Abdullah, the National Publicity Secretary of the AC. Thank you so much indeed for your time. Tonight on the program, we examine the political and the national implications of the primaries that we are seeing, especially one man that is up for the competition that everyone wants to beat him. That's the candidate of the APC, President Bola Tinubu. There are a lot of debates over the mood in northern Nigeria, the Tinubu Shetima ticket, the opposition realignment, and questions around internal democracy, issues of economy, cost of the livelihood of the average person. There's a lot of pressure. The executive legislative relationships. And tonight, my guest is a 5-time member of the House of Reps. Yes. Been the chair of the Appropriation Committee, the chair of the Finance Committee. He's even served in the executive arm of government. Tonight, he brings a lot of knowledge. And of course, he's coming from one of the biggest political states in Nigeria, Kano. Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin is my guest tonight on the program. Many thanks for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you, Seun, and it's such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you. A lot of quiet from your angle. I mean, when a younger Abdul Mumin Jibrin on the floor, vibrant, a lot of energy on the floor. And we've seen you just alone in these the 10th National Assembly. You've won 2 different hats, NNPP, APC. You've gone here and there, and you're back. You were the one who, in fact, one of the very first few people who were talking about Bola Tinubu, when nobody even believed. You gathered ulamas in Bebeji, in Kofa, where you belong, to pray for Bola Tinubu's...
we still did another one. We still did another one last week.
What is it with you and Bola Tinubu anyways?
Well, for me, it's not about what is there between me and Bola Tinubu. It's what makes him such a leader with all the qualities that you can look at and call someone a world-class leader. Look at the way our party has been managed. For the first time, you have a national party that clearly you can see there is strong leadership at the center. Look at how we went about our primaries, culminating with the presidential primaries 2 days ago. And I have said that in my previous interview, that event was monumental. I have talked about the speech of the president at that event. In my own personal opinion, and I always say, arguably, it's one of the best speech that he has presented. And I said, and I want to restate it again, that I advise his media handlers to actually print that speech into different languages and let it get to the bottom of this country, the real grassroots, because in summary, he captured everything about his government and even even democracy itself. Are you
not over-dramatizing that event? That event that a lot of people have come to criticize, a primary that a lot of people say, the votes were fictitious. The votes were phony, dramatic, because you see miscounting in the vote. 100, 200, 217, 241. People were dramatically counting upside down. Is that the process you are talking about? There are those who will say maybe you are just over-exaggerating the process that led to the emergence of Bola Tinubu as a candidate of the APC.
Personally, I always like to have conversation around facts and even in statistics or probability when you want to make a decision or when you want to draw a conclusion. If you have a one-off situation, because what you are mentioning about a counting instance that was seen in how many places, 1 place out of 99, I don't think, Shehu, you should give that so much publicity. Then secondly, when you keep saying, people say, who are the people that say? People gathered in that hall. People who were in there all over the country. You saw the primaries from Kano to Jigawa, to Abeokuta, to Akwa Ibom, to Cross River, to Delta, to Plateau, to Benue, to Borno. You saw massive people coming out to vote for the president in the primaries, and that will be replicated in the presidential election. Let me even say...
How would that... The president didn't have up to 10 million votes in 20, and there are those who will say he's less popular now. There are those who will tell you, Honorable, that the chances of the president is in fact slimmer in 2027.
I hope as much
than
as
in
I give you
2023.
all the time
Just
to listen to your question, you will also give me time
Yeah,
to
because
answer.
you are the speaker. I'm the one. I'm the one asking
so
the question.
That, you don't ask and also
absolutely,
answer.
Absolutely. I will give you all the time to answer. The question is that 10 million plus vote. The president in the last time around had 8 million plus vote. I mean, what are the guarantees that vote he can be able to replicate it when it comes to the general election?
Why are you talking about 2023? We're in 2026. And the president has demonstrated so much. In 2023, I wasn't even in this party. So we are now in this, but that tells you that how many governors were there? Many of them are back into APC. A lot of projects are going on. Wide-ranging reforms are going on. Those who choose not to see, we have no problem with them. But I tell you that the majority of the people of this country are seeing the good work of the president. And believe me, the numbers will be much more than 2023. But I'll feel more comfortable anytime when we talk. We have conversation on fact, Sheun. But when you say, people say, I don't like, did you hold a referendum? That you are showing me where people say, you understand, no, it's not funny, you are smiling. But at any time when we say that, people say, did you hold a referendum? To say, these people are angry, that people are angry. What statistics did you use? What random statistics?
I speak with people every day, and people come on this platform to speak. And so,
because we have so much to talk about.
Yeah. Now, in the real sense, and you've not been able to substantiate how President Bola Tinubu, you see, elections and politics are about patterns also.
They intertwine.
Yeah, and you look at history, you look at patterns, you look at what has happened in the past, you look at what the fact now is. So you had an Atiku on the ballot the last time around. You had a Peter Obi on the ballot the last time around. There's a possibility that a Jonathan can be on the ballot this time. There is a Sheyi Makinde's possibility of being on the ballot. You have a Showore. You have so many people that are possible, that have the possibility of decimating the stronghold of President Bola Tinubu in 2027. And you say it can produce 10 million votes. Can you be able to analyze how that will happen?
The more they come out, the better the chances of Tinubu. The more they increase in number coming out to contest, the better the chances. The simple dynamics that would have given us a little sleepless night where we will wake up and really work, even though I'm not suggesting that we should be complacent, is if the opposition had all come out all together to do exactly what President Tinubu did in 2015, bringing everybody together, going to bring in Buhari, bring in members of the National Assembly. Some of us were involved like that at then. Bring in the governors of the Southwest. Went after all the governors that they needed. At the end of the day, got about 5 governors and the rest. He was all over, and he made sure that the opposition were all tied under one band. You are not having that today. Why are you daydreaming, Sheun? You are a smart politician.
It is not me. I'm asking as a journalist for you to substantiate.
For instance,
as a politician, who is being
they are decimating
4 times 5, 25 years. You've been around for a while, so you should know. From a kind of a politically savvy, sensitive state, you should know that elections are very sensitive and dynamic every other year.
You see, the more they divide themselves, the more they split their vote. The vote of the president continue to remain intact. None of them is taking anything from the vote that the president is going to get. So what would have even made sense to advance a bit of an argument, even at that, even if they had called all together, the president will still defeat them. But the fact is that they are even splitting their votes. So good for us.
I give you the analysis.
Ordinarily,
you have not been able to counter the analysis that I give.
I know you will not allow me to talk.
Just a moment.
I'm
giving you all the time. Just a moment.
You are not giving me time.
I've asked you a question. You have not answered it. Let me just calm down. Just a moment. And let me tell you. I'll do the analysis for you. If you put this country into
you ask me question or you do the analysis.
Can you do all that?
You ask me question.
Same question. I wanted to help you with the analysis so that you can help your cause. Now, if you put just remember,
ask me question, let me answer.
Can you calm down, sir? Let me ask you, sir. If you put the question into a northern and southern Nigeria, you look at the possibility of an Atiku from northern Nigeria, who seems to be the most popular or likely candidate to come from that region of the country, and the rest are coming from the southern region of the country, which is President Bola Tinubu's domain, which is his stronghold. And you're going to be having a Seyi Makinde, a Peter Obi. Don't forget the last time Peter Obi defeated President Bola Tinubu in Lagos, his home state. You're going to have a possibility of a Goodluck Jonathan. There is a sandy honor of a possibility. How do you think that his stronghold has not been decimated ahead of that election in 2020?
Completely not decimated. President Tinubu continued to remain the most influential politician in southern Nigeria and by extension in the entirety of Nigeria. If I will help you to even construct your question, if you will even say if there is anything that now can suggest a bit of a threat in perception, it's the propaganda going on in the northern part of the country. A very heavy propaganda, and nobody is going to dispute that fact. And I crave your indulgence to actually allow me to explain this without interrupting me. I believe that is the only issue, and we need to just explain it to people. There is that perception in the northern part of the country where some politicians are spreading that propaganda that the president does not like the North, that the president has not been fair to Northerners in appointments, that the president has not taken projects into the North. Even those who are contesting, I can put a bet with you, these are the kind of propaganda they are spreading down the grassroots. But when I keep saying, let's base our conversation on fact, Sheung, even this, which I know eventually you are going to come to it, is not based on fact. All of these issues that are being raised, when you put them on a scale, you discover that they are false, they are lies that are just being concocted just to paint the president black. Now I give you the fact. Talking about the president has demonstrated likeness for the North. All his life, he has supported the North and Northerners. Take it from King Gibi and Yaradua. Take the 8 years he spent as governor. He spent it with the vision, planning to form a coalition around the country. And when eventually that coalition of opposition materializes, he handed it over to the North in 2015. But again in 2007, he formed a platform of his own. He handed it over to a Northerner. In 2011, he formed a platform of his own. He handed it over to a Northerner. In 2015, I've explained it previously, the role that he played, that nobody has disputed that, and nobody will ever dispute that in the next 1,000 years, the role he played in bringing together that coalition of 2015 that brought down Goodluck Jonathan. What did he do? He has all the right then to say, no, it must be a Southerner or it must be me. He made sacrifice. He handed it over to the North. And for such a person, take it after the first term of President Buhari. Second term, again, issues were coming up, shaking and the rest. We all went back to him again and say, you have to come and do this for us. He accepted without grudges, came again, led the campaign, delivered Buhari for the second time. That's why when people are saying, oh, Buhari people, maybe they are not going to be happy with Tinubu, I said it's a lie, because if anything like that happened, it will be the biggest political betrayal of Tinubu, the biggest political betrayal in the history of the world, because Tinubu did everything to support the North. Taking appointment as the second thing, Sheung, it's been lies. If you take the major appointment, people lay emphasis, oh, he has put all Southerners in finance and the rest. Look at the facts. And when you talk about the economy, you're talking about finance, you're talking about expenditure, you're talking about the central bank, that is fiscal and monetary policy. So what did the president did? The president gave finance, which essentially is revenue and managing fiscal matters, to a Southerner. Expenditure, very important. Minister of Budget and National Planning. They gave it to a Northerner from Kebbi. When people talk about, okay, Federal Inland Nigerian Revenue Services, where you have the young man, Zach, doing a fantastic world-class job. Somebody that by now, if not because of one reason or the other, he should also be having a GCFR in GCON and its name because of the kind of role under the guide of the president that he played in expanding our fiscal space. People keep saying, okay, they've taken very little to the south, but the president did something. There's Director General Budget Office who handles the core of the expenditure of the country. He handed it over to a competent northerner that nobody can question his integrity and competence, Yakubu Tanimu. So you can go on and on. You look at the major MDAs, you will say NNPC, you will say NCC, you will say MPA, you will say NIMASA. Yes, the president gave the southern part of the country NNPC, but NCC is from the north. It's a young northerner from Katsina State. The problem is that many people do not even know this fact. You yourself, you're not researching to know this fact. MPA, which is graded as even the second or the third biggest, was given to northerner. It's a northerner from Taraba. Then again, NIMASA went to the southern part of the country. You have big MDAs that are all being handled by northerners. You have the PTDF. It's a northerner. You have Naseni, Khalil is there, young man, brilliant guy from Kano. You have TED Fund. Many people will take TED Fund that even take Minister of Education. TED Fund is a northerner from North Central. Then you have UBEC, which are all key issues that has to do with education. Young lady, brilliant, hunted from the World Bank from Kano State. She's there. She's the executive secretary of UBEC. If you go down to the cabinet itself, what the president did was to sit down and see what are the areas of interest of northerners and northern Nigeria. He said agriculture. He identified agriculture. He identified health. He identified humanitarian. He identified infrastructure, which is seated on works and housing. And also he identified water because of irrigation and the rest. And what did he do? Fantastic job. Distinction. Agriculture, what did he do? He has the right to give it to a southerner. He didn't. It was deliberate. It's not accidental. He gave it to Kyari. Even the state, he gave it to Senator Abdullahi. All to the north. Gave them all the necessary support. They have a good budget. When they come to the National Assembly, we increase their budget. The president never, ever reduce their budget. And so much is going on. Because of time, I cannot go into all the policies, the fertilizer, everything, food prices going down. And so much is going on. You talk about health, he brought in Professor Patti. You talk about education, which is one of our challenges in the northern part of the country. He gave us the Minister of State. Don't forget, he gave us Ted Ford, he gave us UBEC, he gave us the Minister of State, Professor Suweba. Humanitarian, because of disaster, support, everything. Poverty is more in the northern part of the country. He got a first-class brain. He headhunted him from outside the country and placed him there. Iman Suleiman is there in Human Affairs to be able to handle our women, mobilize them, prepare them to be able to benefit from all what we are. And there are other silent, very strategic appointments that people are not talking about. Bala Usman, Hadiza Bala Usman is there, popularly called the head girl. Is she not from the north? Except if you are saying that you don't like the faces of the people that you are seeing. Ismaila Ahmed is there, handling CMG. Is he not a northerner? Then when you talk about his personal staff, his chief personal security officer, he's another from Kaduna State, Shugaba. You see him everywhere. You see the president. You see him. Why are people complaining? His PLO, who tells him to go left or right, he's another from Nasarawa State. One of the finest of our journalists, the young journalists in this in the northern part of the country is Abdulaziz. He's always there with the president. Then you come back to his personal friends, his confidants. He mentioned it at the primary event. You see them, Senator Abu Ibrahim. These are people that have been with him for ages. They are his confidant. Kashim Shatima, these are his confidant. Ibrahim Masari, they are his confidant. Mahmoud Laraba, this is somebody that you don't know, but this is somebody that goes into his bedroom whenever he wants to go. And this is somebody that you want to paint him black for political reason, because you want to struggle by all means to squeeze out vote. It will not work. The only gap that we have is the fact that many appointees are not talking as much as possible. I did not say all, but most of them. So we need to go to grassroots. People need to leave the president. No, listen, people need to allow the president to work. If you want to work for the president now, you are an appointee or you are not an appointee, go down grassroots and sell this information. One last thing, project. When the president came, he inherited the project. Let me just take infrastructure, road infrastructure for instance. All the projects that for 8 years were being done by the Buhari administration, with very due respect to President Buhari, were not completed in 8 years. The president has done 2 years plus. Tell me one of those projects that it's not been continued. Abuja, Kaduna, Kano is being continued aggressively. Kano, Maiduguri is on. Abuja, Kefi, Lafia is on. Zaria, Gusau is going on. Kano, Katsina is going on. Most of those roads in northern part of the country are all going on. Then he did not stop at that. Then he introduced the Sokoto, the Badagry super highway. People are talking now. You know the interesting thing? When I went to address people a few days ago at the grassroots, many people in the village do not even know that there is a road, Sokoto Badagry, being constructed by the president. So the problem is awareness. By the time you complete that road and the value of the corridor on that road, the land, the towns and villages that will be able to now access that super highway, when you will be able to be offloading, moving trailers of products, of commodities from the largest market in Kano, northern part of the country, all the way to Lagos, to Cotonou, to Senegal, to Benin Republic. That is when people will realize the super vision of President Togo. It's not all right, Red. Let me conclude.
That's because I've been patient to listen to you all this while.
That's
so
your job, to be patient to listen to you.
So you won't say that I didn't allow you to talk. Although the Lord that needs to be punctual in what he said.
Okay,
but you need to give me a moment.
But please, 1 minute, let me just conclude.
Okay, I will be patient again for 1 minute.
Thank you. So, and on the project that you are talking about, there's the NEL Fund, and northern students are the biggest beneficiary. Apart from paying their school fees, they are getting stipends of 20,000 every month. You have the power grid that is almost concluded in the historic town of Bichi. And people are not talking about it. The Dawano, which is the largest food market in West Africa, they've started another mega grid, power grid, in that particular market. So a lot of projects. Talking about power, Mambila, others, we will talk about Mambila. Everybody saw what happened. He met a lot of mess on Mambila, only for us to discover that even former President Buhari had released money to one of our brother to go and resolve the problem of Mambila so that we can move forward. Is it Tinubu that created this problem that people are attacking him? The man has been arrested. Why are people not shouting? Why are we not going after him? Shehu, the problem we have is that we must change as northerners our paradigm from negotiating for power to negotiating for
Your 1 minute is over because I need to go on a break. I've allowed you to say, but I'm coming back to puncture a few things that you have said about what you believe in your analysis about the sentiment in the North. There are those who will say, yeah, I agree. Some of the things you have said, and you can't take them away from the Bola Tinubu government, but yet a lot still undone. If you compare his promises and its performance. But that's going to be after this break, everyone. More on the 100%. Just for a moment, sir. Yes. We'll go on the break, but when we come back, the plight of the average Nigerian, the Tinubu policies, and whether or not he's re-electable will be part of our conversation when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Na money point o.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer o. Na money point o ka. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as Sure Banker. Progress na small win wey dey carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am.
Mogo Bible.
Victor, even you, they use money point.
Of course now, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money Point, made for your progress.
Know what's happening across Nigeria's various regions on Channels Television's Newsroom series. Every Monday, we bring you stories from the Southwest. And on Tuesday, the Northwest is our focus. We're in the South for midweek reports on Wednesday. And later in the week, the North Central takes center stage. The Southeast gets the spotlight on Fridays. And we close out the week with the Northeast on Saturday. Watch Newsroom series, 3 p.m., Monday to Saturday, only on Channels Television.
My baba, they always say, for market, every day gets your own wahala. Sometimes people go on scam you. But Baba say, no be by gra, you must cool down, dey sharp. Because with OPay payment, your money go enter sharp, no story. But inside market, anything fit happen. One day, we no see phone again. My baba remember OPay USSD lock, dash *955*131#. Baba press am, lock account. From market woman to driver, from small boy to big man. Now OPay, they protect people like us. My baba fit sell, press phone, collect POS, and still they teach me price. And when they don't tire am, go just tap OPay night guard. We no fear for this our hustle life. Now OPay be the people payment shield.
Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Some stories just coming in. We're understanding now that Ms. Rotimi Amechi, one of the presidential aspirants in the ADC, seems to have rejected what he referred to as a concocted results of the ADC presidential primaries. He's gone on his Twitter handle, X, where he's saying the following reports of widespread voter disenfranchisement in most parts of the country during the ADC presidential primary yesterday. I unequivocally reject the concocted results being announced. We'll give you more insight onto that. He said a party that citizens, the ruling APC and INEC for voting, a party that criticizes the ruling APC and INEC for vote buying, rigging, and writing of results cannot be engaged in vote buying, writing of results, and other electoral malpractices that leads to the disenfranchisement of voters who are party members. This is unacceptable. But we'll be getting you details of what Amechi's views and response on the ADC primaries. Let's continue our conversation with Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibrin, a sitting member of the House of Representatives representing Kano State in the Green Chambers. Thank you so much, Honorable, for your time tonight.
Thank you.
There are a lot to say about the chances of President Bola Tinubu, and it's not yet a campaign period. But I will be suggesting if APC knows what is good, you should be one of the presidential campaign spokesperson, because you were describing and I was looking at you. You were sweet-mouthing some of even the things that that have not been finished. You are making it look like they are finished. There are a lot of projects. The president and the APC made a lot of promises, and Nigerians will be holding it. The campaigns are not yet here. So if we engage in the back and forth, it would look as though we are already talking about campaigns. But let me ask you quickly, the issues relating to Kano politics, first and foremost. Does it not sound like a betrayal? One can so help you to become a member of the House. You abandon him and you jump ship. Did you betray him? Is that fair?
You see why I say you are a world-class journalist, but you do not research. I didn't abandon him. They expelled me from the party.
You remember you told me that?
Yes,
but
I told you that.
Even when that happened, what led to your being suspended from the party?
I think...
What led to that?
I think...
so this is not about... This is about facts. So
I think what is important now is for us to focus on the bigger picture. I think what it's very paramount now is for the conclusion of the conversation that I started.
Don't let us.
I was talking about.
You were saying something that impugned on my expertise.
I didn't.
I do a lot of research and I do a lot of hard work in getting this done.
But
the fact, just a moment. No.
I come here with
I am just a moment. No, we've got to argue these out. We've got to argue these out.
It wasn't to discuss me. It was to discuss the president.
But you,
the journey to 2027.
Did you leave Kwankwaso or not?
I'm not going.
The allegations against you at the time was that you were working with the APC.
Kwankwaso is my benefactor, a mentor. I will continue to respect him, and I will never make any comment
but you chose Tinubu over Kwankwaso.
Or join issues.
But you chose Tinubu over Kwankwaso.
I did.
Do you, and you don't regret that?
I did. And
is that a betrayal?
And I do not regret that.
Is that a betrayal?
And it is not a betrayal.
Tell us about Kano. What chance does the president have in Kano, where you have Kwankwaso up against him?
You have the governor that has moved from the NMPP, has moved to APC. You have the traditional APC, which is a legacy party there. The governor has done a fantastic job to bring everyone together. We have a stronger party now in Kano, and the work that the governor is doing, and I keep saying that he's not getting a fair publicity nationally, and he's not getting a fair review. He's doing massive infrastructural work, human capital development, health care, education, in practically every sector of the state. The governor is grounded doing a lot of work, rural infrastructure, rural lightening. You can put your journalists to go to Kano, to the villages and rest, and see what is actually going on. I believe with that we'll be able to win the election.
Even with the history of Kwankwaso winning that
No matter how you try to drag me into Kwankwaso, go and look at my
You don't
history.
think Kwankwaso is a factor?
I have never joined an issue with him in public, and I will never do that as a mark of respect that I have for him. And if you remember, even when circumstances made me to leave the president's campaign in 2022, all I did was to campaign for another candidate. But you can never see me anywhere during that period attacking President Tinubu. It's not in my character, and I will not do that. So I'm sorry, you'll not have what you want.
Tell us about the Tinubu-Shettima relationship, because that is another issue creating a lot of sentiment in northern Nigeria. Yeah. Even the vice president had come out to say there are those around him who even said the clothes that he gave him that he should not wear it. There are those who imagine that there is a frosty relationship between President Bola Tinubu and his vice president Shettima. He's not decided on his running mate, and the APC has not said whether or not they're still going to go with Vice President Shettima. But there's the question of the Muslim ticket, which some people are still talking about. In fact, there is a case in court challenging the APC and President Tinubu of having a Muslim ticket. Is that a factor that could work against your party?
Let me try to answer all these questions very quickly, because I know that we've run completely out of time. The question you've just asked intertwine with the last point I want to make about the North, that we in the North, there need to be a change of paradigm from negotiating for power, always negotiating for power, to negotiating for development. Rather, we should focus on articulating what we want, put up a pressure group, not to just give, not to just do a kind of lip services to it, but be serious about it and negotiate for development. Because I keep telling people, and I've had that conversation with a lot of people, that if giving Northerners power has a correlation with development, those Northerners who are complaining today should not be complaining, because from Gawan to Murtala to Shagari to Buhari to Babangida to Abacha to Yar'Adua, then over to Buhari again, in my personal opinion, they did their very best for this country, and they have a lot of achievements too. But these same Northerners who are fighting for powers are the ones that are saying those people didn't do anything. So there's no correlation. It means that it doesn't matter. In any case, it is a turn of the South. So the next 4 years goes to Southerners, and of course, President Tinubu is going to win. Talking about the relationship of the president and the vice president, I've never believed that there is a problem. I will only tell you what I know. First, I will tell you about the Tinubu that I know. You see, Shehu, this is not a sweet mouth, and I didn't like that because I did not take it as a compliment when you say I have sweet mouth. The president is a good man. He's patient. He's very tolerant. He loves people. He loves this country. He's extremely generous, and he wants to see everybody prosper. But let me tell you, one very important virtue that he has, that many of his colleagues and his contemporaries today that are in political, or his juniors that are in political, do not have, is that he can easily make sacrifice. And the president made that sacrifice. He was out of power for 17 years and kept promoting people, until when all of us realized, you think he was the one who just decided, allow me to talk.
And he said it is time.
Allow me. Until when he decided, not many of us were around him. It wasn't only his decision. Many people were around him. He's a completely good man, and he is very forgiving. When in 2022, we started with the Falake and the former speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, Jimmy Benson. We all came together and started the initial process of the campaign. I went to him because I know that there are a lot of people around the former president that didn't want him. Some are governors and the rest. Just to demonstrate to you the kind of forgiving spirit that he has. I said, okay, give me the go-ahead. Let me go talk to some of these governors. And I don't want to even mention their name and appointees. And I went. And believe me, showing before man and God, some of them told me, be careful, stay off this thing. You will destroy yourself. I never agreed. And I went back, I reported everything to him. Fast forward, when he won the election, many of those people were appointed into his government. Many of them are still in his
totally out of time.
But let me tell you something.
We're totally out of time.
But let me tell you something.
We're totally out of
before
time.
You shut me
that
down,
I don't have the power over.
Let me tell you something.
But there is something
he knows that they are there, but he has forgiven them. On Shatima, just only one time, quickly in 10 seconds, I'm going to say that. The only thing I remain remembering between Shatima and the president is the fantastic chemistry they've had. And when we were looking, the first event we had, when we were looking for prominent northerners to come out and support the president, the massive event we had in the International Conference Center, I went to Shatima. I was the one that went to Shatima. It was only Shatima, Abu Ibrahim, and the last person had left, I don't want to mention his name, that agreed to come out at that early stage to support the president. I remember one of his staff, Gimba Kakanda, was seated there, and I said, Your Excellency, are you not scared? Because everybody is saying the body language of the president then, everything, they will do this. And the word of Shatima was that, look, I'm a man of conviction. I will support Tinubu. And I will support him body, heart, and soul.
Right.
The following day, he went to the International Conference Center, delivered a landmark speech that gave everybody the confidence to start coming. So I believe they're good, and I believe all that issues will be resolved. We're out of time because you did most of the talking.
Although that's not true. Thank you so much. Honorable Abdulmuni Jubing, a five-time member of the House of Reps.
No, fourth time.
Fourth time.
For the fifth.
You've gotten a ticket for the fifth now. Yeah. Thank you so much indeed. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, we told you earlier that Chibike Rotimi Amechi has rejected the process, and that's the tweet there on his social media handle. That's how we can go on the program tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.
Welcome to Election 101 in 5 2.0, your one-stop guide to everything in elections where we shed light on gray areas of Nigeria's electoral process. I am Samson Itodo. Election 101 in 5 is brought to you by YIGA Africa with support from the European Union under the EU support to democratic governance in Nigeria. Today, let's consider a situation that often raises questions. A political party has already submitted the name of its candidates to INEC, and then suddenly you hear that the candidate has been replaced.